Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today, we are going to be having a look at my new studio mixing desk, the
RODECaster Pro II. Oh, yeah!
But first, we're going to kick off today with a song from somebody we really know and love. This is Ron Ward, and this is his brand new track, Lucky.
I'm lucky just to be here after all the things I've done, to sit here with my coffee, looking at the rising sun as it burns away the secrets of the night. I tell you, I've been lucky in this life. I can never really know you, can't be inside your head. Even if I love you and have you in my bed, I can only look into your eyes and smile. At least I got lucky for a while. I never saw it coming, although I knew it would. And destiny is such a lovely word. I've used up all my chances, you're stuck inside my head. And if I can't stop loving you, I know you'll see me dead. And I don't think I'm lucky anymore. And I don't want to fly into that storm. And I don't wanna kiss your lips of blood. I'm not that kind of lucky anymore. What happened to you, my friend? Where have you gone? Last time I saw you, you were looking good. Now you're pushing up the daisies in the lawn. So I don't think I'm lucky anymore. And I don't want to fly into that storm. And I don't wanna kiss your lips of blood. Not that kind of lucky anymore. What happened to you, my friend? Where have you gone? Last time I saw you, you were quite alive. Now you're pushing up the daisies in the lawn. So I don't think I'm lucky anymore. And I don't want to fly into that storm. And I don't wanna kiss your lips of blood. I'm not that kind of lucky anymore. I'm not that kind of lucky anymore. Not that kind of lucky anymore.
Good morning, welcome to the show. My name is Jade, Starr, and this is How to App on iOS. And firstly, I want to welcome all of the Wart Warriors to the group. You can become a Wart Warrior by clicking the join button down below for $1 a month, and you get custom emojis and a whole bunch of fun stuff and a show once a month, a private members-only show. Yes, indeed. Let's say hello to everybody here. That was Ron. Before I do that, it was Ron Ward with, who else was in there? Papa Tom. Lou Reality, Jason Lemansky, Jose Velez, and a whole cast of characters. A big team effort there for Ron Ward's new song, Lucky. And I was privileged enough to master that fine specimen of a song. So there's a link pinned to the top of the chat there. You can click on that. Go and check out Rockin' Ronnie Ward. He's a bit of a legend around here. He plays your music like Thomas Christ does 3 times a week. So you can head over to his channel. If you want to get your music played on there, you can send him an email via his YouTube channel and he'll play your music. Yeah? So do it now. Good stuff, everybody. Let's say hello to folks who are here in the chat today. Before we get down to business, because we've got a cool show for you all today. Hello, Sean Chandler. Hello, Andy Goldsby. Hello, Guzzo of Oz. Joe and Barry Glenn are here. Syf, and good to see you. Thomas Christ is rocking it out with us, who also has a great show each week called You Rock. Papa Tom Caraher is here as well. I said Guzzo of Oz, I think already. I can't remember. My brain's like a goldfish. I've caught Ron Ward disease. Who else is here? Jenny. Hello, Jenny. Jenny's got a custom emoji, which was added yesterday in memoriam just for her. So sending lots of love to you, Jenny. Hello, Jim Shannon on sounds. Who else have I possibly missed? Russ8889. G'day, Cobber. What is going on? It's way too early. I need more coffee. Definitely need more coffee. All right, welcome, guys. And hey, if you're watching on the replay or anything like that, hit the like, do subscribe. We try and cover a whole lot of things here on How to App on iOS. Interviews with amazing artists, talking about apps, mental health and well-being specials, you name it. Live performances by guest artists on the weekend. I do a performance 3 times a month each weekend. It's a variety show of sorts, yes? I think I got everyone who was here today. All right, cool. So today we're taking a look at some hardware, doing something a little bit different because I like to cover hardware as well too. And it is the brains of my studio, the new RODECaster Pro II. And this show is not sponsored by Rode. So you are going to get a 100% honest opinion of this new kit because I paid a lot of money for it. Yeah? And I wouldn't have been able to do that without my amazing patrons and people who support this channel. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to upgrade to this great gear. It wasn't so great in the beginning. It was evil, let's say. But things got better, and we'll talk about that as we go on. So let's quickly jump over and talk about any apps that are on sale, because we need to do that too. I'll just refresh. What's on? No, I don't want to do that. All right, we'll do that. Cool. What's on sale? Is there anything different from yesterday? Nothing's changed from yesterday, e.g. Pulse, Spatializer, the 4 Pockets ones that were on sale are not anymore. And I know I need to point this out. iSequence HD is down from $9.99 to $2.99. That's just for one particular person here in the chat today, because every time I do the apps, Jim Shannon says, iSequence is on sale. There you go, Jim. FabFilter apps are on sale, like around $10 off, so worth your time. Cubasis. All the Nembrini apps are still on sale too. Good stuff. There you go. So today's show actually is sponsored. Well, it's not sponsored. it's sponsored by this. So it is my gear recommendation guide, which you can find in the link below, which is gear.howtoapponios.com or howtoapponios.com/gear, and it will take you here. So it has all of the gear that is in my studio. Not all of it. There's some stuff that is missing because there's a lot of shit in here. And it is featuring the RODECaster Pro II at the top of the page. All of these things in my gear guide have Amazon affiliate links to the US, UK, Australia, and Canada. So I've tried to get the cheapest prices for all of them for you guys. And if you purchase anything from here, they do break off a tiny, see, tiny, that much amount, and they throw it my way. So, and today we are looking at this RODECaster Pro II. What exactly is the RODECaster Pro II? I hear you ask. Well, it's a lot of things. It was promised to be a lot of things when it was first announced, and when it dropped, it was promised to be a whole bunch of things, and unfortunately on the release it wasn't. But in a very short few weeks, it is becoming what it was initially announced to be, thankfully, which is good. So, I mean, I was talking to Pete Johns about this from Studio Live today, and he tends to, like, when I will buy something or get something for my studio, he tends to let me be the guinea pig, where on his channel, he tends to be the guinea pig for you. So both of us tend to be a guinea pig for you, and we'll try and get things new and test them out. And Pete was probably wise in letting me be the guinea pig on this, because early adopters for such a really ambitious piece of hardware did struggle with it, like I did. And if I go back to my gear guide here, you will see that I have become a very Rode-centric studio, and I don't have any affiliation with Rode whatsoever. Everything that I own of Rode, I have paid for. So as you can see here, I've got this. The headphones I'm wearing are their debut headphones. They're H100s. I have a wireless mic, which I'm wearing right now, and lavalier, and the VXLR Plus. I have a Rode NT1 mic as well. Also, I have a pod mic. So I have the entire collection of Rode things, all the things. And they just make really fantastic quality stuff. It is what it is. And part of the reason I do support them is they're Aussies, man. I like knowing that the money I'm spending on these things is staying within my country. And what I think is really cool about Rode is that they build all of their devices here. Like, these aren't like built in China and then shipped back. These are actually manufactured here in Australia. I think that's really, really ace. I think, more companies should do this in our own countries. Yeah, I do love that. No, I don't have the Rode Boom. I have another Boom. It's on my gear guide as well. It's a cheaper one, but you know what? It looks exactly like it. So here is the Rode page, the Rode Procaster 2 page. Now, they did have a previous model. The Rode Procaster didn't have a numeral before it. But with that particular model, now a lot of people love that. If you go and search on YouTube, you'll find a lot of people talking about the Rode Procaster or RODECaster Pro, whatever it was called. But unfortunately, the thing was that it was more of a podcasting unit, and a lot of people complained that they really struggled to use it for streaming. You had to do a few workarounds to get it to stream, and unfortunately when they built it, it wasn't built for streaming, the previous model. So they kind of added more software updates to try and make it more streaming friendly, but it just didn't. So this time around, they threw the whole idea out the window of the original RODECaster, Procaster, whatever you want to call it. And they started from scratch to make this, as it says here, an integrated audio production studio. So why am I talking about it here on the show? Because it is basically an audio interface, a multi-track audio interface. It is a podcasting bench, basically, and a streaming device. So it's 3 devices in one. It's very ambitious. And basically what they have done with it, if they've built the console and left it very open to interpretation. So what they can do with future updates is add more and more features to it. It's virtually just a PC. So it is a PC that has all these open tracks ready for you to do whatever you want with it and move things around and make it how you want it to be, which I love. And let's talk about, so I'll run through the page here. So this is their website. So content creation made easy. So this is definitely aimed at streaming, like myself, for people who are streaming. The second thing is sound incredible every time you hit record. So it's made for recording in a studio. So you can use it as a pretty much a 6-track audio interface, record drums all at the same time, or just a vocal and guitar into things like Logic or, you know, whatever you're using. It's very, very, very Apple friendly. Very Apple friendly. I'll show you the way I have it set up, which is probably different to how most people would, but I have a very unique situation here. And this is what makes this thing really good, is that you can just mold it into whatever you want to suit your setup. And if you have complex setups with certain things you need to do that wouldn't fit a normal mixing desk, you can do that with this. So this is pretty much their Guff Wank page here. If you click on this little learn more, this takes you more to the nitty gritty and you start to really see what this stuff can do with specs and all this. Don't worry, we're going to jump in and have a look at the beast and run through all of the menus and everything, see it live in action soon. So, so some of the key points here, the ultra low noise, high gain Revolution preamps. I have to tell you, these are some of the most silent preamps I've ever heard. They are so silent. It is very, very impressive what they have done with this. Compared to, I've watched so many videos on the preamps and tests and stuff, and the preamps are the best I've ever used. I will come out and say it for home recording. I'm sure there's, you know, high-end studio gear that's much better, of course. Hello, Tremor Bear and Dave Fox. Good to see you both. So you've got 4 high-quality Nutric combo inputs. So these are not only just for XLR and a guitar. These are instrument, line in, and XLR. So they are 3, and you have got 4 of them. And I know you're probably thinking, 4, is that all for a studio mixing desk? Trust me, I thought that when I bought it, but wow, just the way you're able to mix and match everything, you can, as I said, build this to be what you want. 9 individually assignable channels with 6 broadcast quality physical faders, high performance quad core audio engine. So as I said, this is a PC. This is running a quad core PC. And this is why when they are updating the software, they are going to be, Rode are just going to be able to add whatever they like to this. And they are asking the users to really submit what we want. And they're doing their best to do it. Also, this is pretty impressive here. Studio grade Aphex audio processing and onboard effects. This stuff's not shit. The Aphex audio processing is absolutely wonderful, and you've got this across all the tracks, which you will see. Bluetooth connectivity, as I said, multi-track recording, micro SD to record as you're streaming, or, you know, and you can record multi-track onto a SD card. Very, very cool. It's got a touch screen. 4 headphone outs. It's nuts. It really is mind-blowing. But when we start having a look at it, I will go through some of the issues that I've had, because there have been a few. So as you can see here, perfect now, made for podcasting, yeah, as well, with the 4 mic inputs, and then you've got the 4 headphone outs. So as you can see here, these happy people with their perfect life, sitting around having the most perfect podcast ever. Look at look, not a hair on the head is out of place. Can you imagine how boring that podcast is right there? I wouldn't listen to that if you paid me. But really amazing for doing these kind of podcasts to know that you can do this in one little device. Absolutely incredible. Let's get through some of this. So all your devices connected. I mean, you can virtually connect everything to this, your monitors, your PC, 2 PCs. You can have 2 PCs connected to this, which I currently have. Your iPads, the devices, microphones up the wazoo, instruments. It's nuts. It's really incredible. It also even has Wi-Fi and an Ethernet port. So you don't even have to plug it in to your computer to get updates. It's got its own Ethernet port and Wi-Fi. Nice. We'll look at the specifications here just quickly. What did I want to cover here? Micro SD slot, Wi-Fi connectivity. There we go. And you've got these 4 gigabyte of smart pads. So the smart pads are just, that's how I do all these effects and stuff. It's nuts. All right. Let's take a look at the device, shall we? I know you're waiting to see it. Let's go over here. And there it is in all of its glory. So just so you can see where it's sitting in relative to me here, it's right here at my fingertips. Now, I have this on like a raised little stand that I bought for $22 off eBay, just so it's sitting diagonal instead of sitting flat. So it makes it easy for me just to reach over, change things, hit these pads. It's really lovely. All right, let's have a look at the beast. So as you can see here, you've got these 8 pads, which are absolutely 100% customizable. You can pretty much put whatever you want in there. Music, you can put in like effects, like little sounds, bites, things like that. Music on loops that you can just have playing in a loop. Round and round. You've got sound effects. So down the bottom here, you've got these pages that you can flip through. And currently I've got like 7 pages of different sounds, and you can change the colors of each of the pads. So I have mine all color coded, so I know if it's music or a sound effect or a vocal sound effect. So as you can see here, if I click this one, that's my theme music. And I can stop, start, boom, my little hippie button. Boom. On the next page, I have a whole bunch of vocal effects, so I can hit this one
and my voice just changes instantly. Or we can
go like this, where we've got the high-pitched voice. It's so much fun.
Oh, then we've got like a megaphone.
Then we've got this demented voice over here.
I've got some reverb on this one, so this is just reverb for if I'm doing some singing. And I've got a robot. This is a robot sitting right here. It's a robot. And then if I decide to swear, and I don't want you guys to hear me calling you all a bunch of you see what I mean? I can just beat myself out with a little beat button, and you can also turn that into like a cough button. So if you just need to cough, you can just touch it and just go silent. Nobody can hear you cough. You could also use a mute button for that. We've also got like this, also like a ducking button. So just to show you how the ducking works. So I've got this ducking button here. When I activate this button, when I play music now, like we go back here and do the intro theme, you'll hear when I speak, the music will drop underneath my voice. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Can you hear that's dropped? When I speak again, the music ducks underneath my voice, and then when I stop talking, it comes back. Pretty sweet stuff, you know. These are the kind of things you have to pay a fair bit to have on a. This is real serious audio podcast broadcasting kind of stuff that you can have. As we go through the pages, I've got like lots of effects here, like Brad.
Get fucked.
Whoops.
So I've got a whole bunch of effects all locked
in. I have music over here for my Patreon. So all this is just easily programmable, and I'll show you how you can program them right now. But what's also cool about these buttons is that they can be used as CC MIDI controls. So if you're using a DAW, like you're in your Logic, and you want to set up your buttons for like play or stop or record, you can actually do that with this. You can control your play, stop, record, all of that, because these are CC MIDI controls, and you can do all of that in a DAW as well. Super, super clever stuff. Not only that, you can control things like OBS for switching scenes, doing all that kind of stuff. Now, I've decided with my setup to continue using my Stream Deck, and what I did instead was I moved all the sound effects from my Stream Deck over here. So I have sound effects over here and scene switching on my Stream Deck. It just makes more sense to me. I really love my Stream Deck for scene switching. Yeah, you can set the faders and mutes to work in a DAW as well. Thomas has just asked here. There we go. Can you set your faders and mutes to work in a DAW? Absolutely, 100%. And I'll talk about how you do that. I'm not going to go into setting it up too much because it takes a little bit to set up. And the hard thing is, I'm actually live streaming with it right now. So I can't really just stop the stream and switch everything over, because you've got to go over to multitrack. But let's talk about how you can set up these buttons. So you'll notice on the screen here, there you go. See if I can do this with the right hand. So you notice on the screen down the side here, we've got these little buttons here. Now they match the touchpads. So if I click on any of these, it takes me into this menu for the touchpads. And then if I go ahead and click on, say, we've got the air horn, this one, and you can see when I press it, it gives you the playback, so you can actually see it moving. You can see how much time is left on it. When I hit the music at the start, it creates this little circle, and you can see it, how long it's got. So you've got a little prompt to know, cool, it's going to run out, show's going to start. Super lovely stuff. And with each of these, you can actually click on them, and it'll give you this screen here. So you can change the color here. You can change the name of them. You can edit or clear them. And if we hit edit, you even get the option to add fades to it. So just for example, I'll show you, I can shorten this. Oh, that's our marker. See here, these dots. I can shorten this file, so I can edit this file in here. Or I can even add a fade by grabbing the top and add a fade like that. How cool is that? Yeah. So, and then I can drag that fade back, stretch this back out. So you can really go in here and mess with stuff. Plus what's really, really cool, so you can do this with each of the pads. And you'll notice up here, we've got like this one shot. And if I click on this, it changes to a hold. So now I have to hold it. You can change it to a toggle. So you've got these options with everything. We'll go back to a one shot. You've also, it opens up more options like looping on. You've got a replay. So you can actually set replay to continue. So if you've got a long piece of music, you can actually stop it and like this and see it stops. And then so when I hit the button again, it continues on. Really interesting stuff. So automatically, even just here on the touchscreen, the customization is just brilliant. And you can connect to the Rode Connect as well on the computer to add more sound effects, that kind of stuff. And yes, Rode Connect does play very nice with iOS. I've had no problems with it whatsoever since the latest update. So these are some of the things you can do with the pads, but I will show you this. This is really cool. So live in a stream, if I jump over here, and you can see as I flick through the pages, you're seeing everything, and it clearly tells you if it's an effects channel or, you know, and you can name all these sounds. So if we go to this last one here, and you'll notice I've only got 4 pads here, but if I click on this one to add a new sound, this brings up the menu to add sound. So you get a whole bunch of sounds you can add. So you can do that. Let's click this again. Add. You can add an effects. And in here, you've got things like reverb. You've got delay or echo. you've got a megaphone, you've got a robot voice simulator, you've got a disguised voice, and you've got a pitch shifter as well to create all these crazy
sounds like this, so you can do all this kind of stuff. And what you'll find never gets old, really. To actually change the knobs here, and we all love knobs, you just click on the desired knob, and this main button here, this
controls all of your dials. So this is your main
dial that you use to change things, yeah? It's super lovely.
So this is a fine tune here, and then I can go into a coarse tune over here, and
we can get really
crazy with all. Wow, how good's that? Then we can add then we can add the robot voice in here. So that's on as well.
Then we can go into the robot voice. So you can add all these things. You can change different kind of robots if you like. It's quite demented, yes. So
let's turn that off. So you can build up effects to what you want. And you'll notice up the top here, you've got this 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually designate the channels that these are going to work on. So out of the 4 inputs, you might only want it to work on number 1. So you can get rid of all of these. It's only ever going to work on mic input 1. It won't work on any other mics. So you've got so much flexibility just to mess around. There's a reverb here as well. If we turn that on, hey, we can click on the level there, turn up our level, turn up really big. So we've got a really big reverb. And we've got a delay. That's now we've got a delay. So you've got a lot of stuff in here to play with, yeah? And this is all just on. This is only the first thing we're looking at. This is built in to our device. And you'll notice with these sound effects too, there's a little button up here called latching, and you can turn this on and off. So you can decide whether the sound effect is latched or not. So if it's not latched, you have to hold down the button, and when you take your finger off, then the sound effect will disappear. So you can do it that way, or just press the button and latch it down. Lots of options for your pads. So the pads are really fun. So there's a look at your pads. Good stuff. I'm just going to have a sip of coffee and we'll move on to the next thing. And grab my vape. All right. Let's flick back over here. Good shit. All right. So you'll notice here we have, what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 channels here. Now, what's fantastic about these channels is you can change them to have whatever you like on them. They're completely customizable. And the way you get around things up here is this little settings button up here will take you to your menu. And you can see here we've got faders. I'll stop banging this camera eventually. Faders, output, smart pads, display, shows, and system. Now, if I go into faders, here is my fader table. And the way it works is the top row here, these are all now connected to the 6 faders. And if I say I want to bring this Bluetooth in and replace this up here, I can just drag that up, and now Bluetooth is on this fader here. So if I connect like another iPad or a phone via Bluetooth, if somebody wants to call in and chat with me live on the show, I can have this Bluetooth channel sitting here, connected over Bluetooth. Someone calls me on FaceTime and we can bring their voice in to the show. Now I can grab this track here, replace that. I can move things around. It's super easy to move things around to how you want them to be. Let me get back into the faders there. Super easy to just customize how you want things to be. Now, if I click on one of these, where are we? We want to go here, faders. If I click on one of them, you'll notice that we are given a brand new table here. And you can see up the top we have our 4 mic inputs. So they're up there. But you'll see underneath we have these little stereo buttons underneath. What is that stuff all about? Well, let me tell you what that stuff is all about. if I come back here, look on my main screen, we've got channel 1, channel 2, and then we've got channel 3 and 4, all in one track. You can actually connect 2 inputs in the back, so a stereo, so left and right stereo, and then you can make those guys. See the little stereo button? So you just click the button there and it connects them together. So I could pick this one and hit stereo, or this one and hit stereo. So you can create stereo tracks. And that is the way I have this routed, which we'll go through my routing a little bit later, to get a stereo guitar effect. If you're recording a stereo guitar from an amplifier, really, really cool. And you've got it all on one fader instead of having to lift 2 faders at once. Super, super customizable. You can change the colors of these tracks as well. You've got a little color palette here. You can change the colors of freaking everything. Yeah, everything to make it whatever color you damn well like. So yeah, these virtual tracks that are down here at the bottom, just because they're not attached to any of these physical faders, you can still get to these tracks. And if we go back to our home screen here, you'll see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The final track here is attached to the pads, but here we have these 2 extra tracks, and I can get to these just by touching on them, and one of them's muted, that's the Bluetooth, and I can turn those up from here. So you can still get to these even though they're not attached to a designated fader. Again, this is this particular one I have over here is my chat effect, my chat channel, which I would bring in a guest on, and I can turn up the volume of this, play with this as well. So as you can see, very, very, very customizable, yeah? Okie dokie, what shall we cover next? Let's talk about how I have everything routed, and then we'll go into the back of the, actually we'll do the back of the device now, and then we will come back. Yeah, so it's 6 physical sliders and 2 virtual, but in reality it's 1, 2, 3, 4 virtual tracks and 4 physical inputs, if that makes sense. Yeah. All right, let's look at the back of the device. Now I can't show you the back with the camera, so what I have prepared is this sucker. Can I do that? There we go. So here is the back of the device, just so you can see what is going on. No, they're not motorized faders, Dave Fox. They are not motorized. Unfortunately, that would be cool. Who knows if they could do that in a future update? That would be nice. I wouldn't say no to that. Let's bring myself back into this picture here. Can I do this? Where am I? There I am. Okay. So this is the back of the device. Now, here is your power input. Now you'll notice this is a USB-C. So it comes with a brick and a USB-C connector. So you can power this, meaning also, because it is USB-C, you can use like a power brick, a charger, what you would take out to plug your phone in, because it's USB-C. I don't know how much time you'd get charging. I mean, it'd have to be a pretty powerful brick. Like I have a 20,000 milliamp one of those big ones. So that would do it quite well. You can see along here, we have the Ethernet port. Why is my mouse not showing up on there? Oh, it probably is. See if I can do it here. Oh, it doesn't show up with the... So second, going from left to right, sorry. We'll go left to right. Maybe I can point, yeah. So that first one there, just above me, and we're going from left to right so you can follow along. That's the USB power. Then next we've got a Ethernet port, and you'll see just above the Ethernet port there is a SD card slot. So that's where your SD card slot goes in. And then next to that we have 2 USB-C ports. Now, this is great because there's so many possibilities, yeah? You could have one going into your iPad and then one going into your computer. You could have one going into a computer, one going into another computer. I have mine set up. Now one is the main port, so you need to keep that in mind. One is the main port. Now both of these are ins and outs, so you've got ins and outs coming back and around and all that kind of stuff. So I have number 1 going into my laptop, which I am streaming from. I have number 2 going into my Mac, which is over there. So number 1's going into my computer over here, and number 2's going into my Mac over here. So that's super sweet. Now with USB-C port 1, this is really interesting. If I jump over to here, I can show you hopefully. Pay attention down here. This is my PC. Now if I go to my sound card here and click, there we go. So let's have a look at what's in here. So you'll see here we have speakers, Rode Connect. Then we've got this one, Speakers 2 RODECaster Pro Chat. So this is what you use for, let me see if I can move this. Sorry, guys. I'll get rid of this. So you're not getting blasted with weird shit. Inception stuff. So RODECaster 2 Pro Chat, this is what you bring people in when you're doing an interview. So out of USB-C port 1, it creates 2 channels. It creates a chat channel and it creates a main channel down the bottom. See this main stereo? So this is your input, output, and you have a spare chat channel to bring somebody in for a call. So it's actually got 2 channels running through it. Now there's 2 modes also that you can run this in. I'm currently in stereo out mode for streaming, but you can turn this over to multi-track mode where you can get pretty much 6 tracks coming directly out. So, I mean, this thing is amazing. Totally amazing. And the other channel, the USB port I have, if we come back over here, number 2, that's going over to my Mac, which is an in and out as well. So that'll just give you the idea of the power that's going on here. Moving along next, you've got 4 headphone jacks. So if you're having, people in your studio, you've got 4 headphones. Next to that is 2 brain work. 2 outputs for monitors, balanced outputs for monitors. So you see the little monitor speaker next to the headphones, so that can go out to your monitors. And then you've got your combo jacks. So that's basically the whole back of the unit. And remember too, not only has it got the Ethernet, it has Wi-Fi as well and Bluetooth built into it too. So let's get back over to the device so I can kind of explain how my setup is running, because you would think for my setup that I would have this connected to my iPad, because that's what I use here daily. Here's my iPad. So I could have the music coming out and going into here, into this, and then this going into my computer. But I'm not doing it that way because, and hopefully I can explain this without you getting confused. Hi, Leela. Welcome along. Now I can't really show. See if I can do this. So let's just show you how I have it set up. We'll do it this way. I'll pull down my iPad and we'll quickly flick over here. So I have, you know what? Let's just rip this off here. And we'll go down there. See if we can do this. So I have my iPad connected, going out here into a USB hub, which is connected to my Arturia audio interface. And out of the back of the audio interface, I have 2 stereo monitor outs, balanced outs. And those balanced outs are going into the back here. So that is why I have this 3 and 4 connected onto one channel. That controls my iPad. So all the music from my iPad is being controlled in these tracks. We'll put this camera back up here. So that's how I have it set up. And you're probably thinking, why? That seems like a bit of a mess around, especially when you have the power to connect this to my iPad. But here's the deal. and I'll explain why I have to do it this way. I demo things like apps where I need to plug in a guitar and I need to plug in a mic and show you things on the iPad. If I'm doing it through this, I'm having to put a microphone or guitar into this, and it's going into the iPad and then coming back around, back into this, and then out to the stream. So I'm getting a double up of voices and guitars, right? And that's what I don't want. So I've had to do it this particular way, but it's actually worked out better for me because now on this channel, so let's go through this. So this channel here has my wireless mic. This is my wireless mic. This channel here has my pod mic, which is here on a boom arm. Hello, hello, hello. So I have a boom arm here ready to go if I'm not using a wireless. So that's channel 2. This is how I have it set up. And if we get rid of the boom mic, come back to my headset. As I showed you, channel 2 and 3, let's bring this camera in a little bit closer again. I had it set up perfect before the show. Had to play with it. Hello, Clayton. Hello to you. Anyone else who I may have missed? Channel, as you just were told, channel 3 controls my iPad. So any music that I play on my iPad here, like Ron's track that we started the show with, so there's all my iPad sounds coming through there. We can stop that. This track here, this channel here, this is if I have anything on my PC I want to play. So if I want to play a file from my computer, I can have that coming through here on my computer. And this final track here, wow, look at that when I turn that up. Isn't that interesting? Now, what have I done with that? That's number 2. And I have that connected to here. Now let's mute this. Hello, hello. Now, why was there another voice coming back? I hear you ask. What was going on there? What is on this track over here? Well, this is USB-C port 2, which is running into my Mac. And as you can see here on my Mac, I have a vocal track here, and which I had to mute, which is connected to my microphone. Hello, hello. I have my Rode microphone connected to this. So if I mute, now I have over here on GarageBand on my Mac, if I hit play, I have my Mac coming through onto the RODECaster as well. How cool is that? So I've got Mac, PC, iPad, Mac, PC, iPad, and 2 microphones, and all these sound effects, beautifully routed, and plus these virtual tracks over here. So we've got a Bluetooth if I want to bring in a Bluetooth, and if I want to bring somebody in on an interview, I've got them on this track here. You're probably starting to see just how incredible this piece of gear is. It is fucking mind-blowing. Really is an amazing piece of kit. And you're probably sitting here asking, yeah, but Jade, how much is it? Let's talk about it at this point, because again, we're going to go a little bit long today because I want to cover as much as I can so you fully understand what this is worth, and then we'll talk about the issues I had with it, because they are very important. So the recommended retail price in the US is $699, and I'm guessing that's around the same price when converted to UK, so around $700. Yeah. In my opinion, for what you're getting for $700 is pretty amazing when you think about what this can eliminate from your studio. This is an audio interface. This is a mixing desk. This is a stream deck. You know, I could very easily remove all of these things, my stream deck, my audio interface. For $700, you know, an audio interface is about, what, $200 to $300, between $150 maybe to $300. Stream Deck, the one I have is like, over $200 and something dollars. A mixing desk, a mixing desk is roughly around $200 and up. So it's got a price tag, obviously. Now in Australia, unfortunately for us, this retails for $1,079 because our dollar is shit. Dollar is total crap. But the reason I bought it so quickly when it was released, I got a deal on eBay and I got it for $800. It was almost a saving of $300. So I knew I wasn't going to get that kind of deal again. So I had to get it and do it and just go for it. So now that we've talked about the price, we'll talk about some cons for a second, yeah? And then we'll look at all of the features within the mic setups, all of this stuff that you can do in here, and then the Rode Connect. So because I was an early adopter, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it has been really fucking frustrating, really painful, and I should have realized it because early adopters for such an adventurous piece of kit were always going to struggle. From the time I took it out of the box, there were already 2 updates to the firmware, and there just wasn't enough things baked into it that I was promised, that we were all kind of promised would be in there, like mix minus. Mix minus, which we will cover, is a very important thing for something like this because you have multiple audio sources coming into one thing from USB ports. So you need to be able to run mix minuses so things aren't looping back and you're getting all this echo. You know, if you've ever watched somebody stream and they've got a bunch of people on StreamYard and none of them have their echo cancellation on, you just hear echo, echo, and everyone's feeding back. Mix minus was a very important thing to have on this. And when it dropped, the firmware wasn't working good. It was clunky. It only had one mode, which was multitrack, and a lot of people's OBSs and things that they used weren't working well with it. It was a pain in the ass. People were complaining. So what Rode did to try and alleviate this was they introduced a beta program, and they offered all early adopters the chance to jump on the beta program and download their latest updates, which was version 1.05, which offered you the chance to have either multi-track out or stereo track out. But the problem was, if you went with the beta, which I did and didn't read all the instructions, you could no longer save any of your pads or any of your shows. So all my shows got completely fucked up. Everything got corrupted. And then they released another beta and that got corrupted. And then another beta. And then I ended up going back to the original firmware. And then that fucked up. And people who are on my Patreon heard all the sound was bad. And there was all this phasing going on. It was a mess. And I was incredibly frustrated. But last week, they finally released 1.07, which is really stable and it's fixed all those problems. So again, this is the problem with being an early adopter. You take the risk of these things going wrong. And you know what? If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And it did go wrong, but we're on the up and that's the most important thing. So now that we've got that major con out of the way, and it's, it's looking really good, what that means is the future of this device is like unlimited. They can add virtually anything to this software. They can add whatever they like. They can add more effects, more compression, more different forms of EQ and stuff like this, because it virtually is just a computer, just waiting to be written over with a whole bunch of knobs and buttons. And Rode are very willing to listen to consumers of what we want, how we can make it better. And trust me, there's a whole lot of YouTube channels who are making huge suggestions, and there really does seem to be a whole lot of really interesting things coming down the pipeline. So there's that. Let's have a bit of a closer look at some other things on here. So you'll notice this big record button up here. Yeah. This is for your SD card. And what's cool about this is at any time, I can just hit record and it will start recording. See that? It's recording right now. Straight to my SD card. So if I'm recording a show or anything like this, I now have a backup on here in the background while I'm streaming out to what's going on. Fantastic. And all I do to stop is stop it. And it's done, and it's saved directly to the SD card that's in the back. The SD card in the back not only holds your audio files and such, it also holds your shows, because let's just stop this now. There we go. So I've never done any recording before. Oh, so you hold, is that right? To stop the recording. So a long hold stops, one press pauses. There you go. I just learned something new because I've never used that yet. So there's that. That is your SD card. Super cool. It also, as I was saying, it holds your shows. And let's talk about shows. You can decide how much space it takes up. It doesn't take too much space on the desk. It definitely doesn't take up too much space. And what I have here, I've bought this little stand, which has room underneath for me to hide other gear, like my Novation pad. So it's lifted off the desk, and I can put other things underneath. There you go. Let's talk about shows. So here, this little microphone button up here, when I click on this takes me to this screen here where you can save your setups, right? So you'll see this is called How to App Daily New Chat Show. So I can actually save what I want. I can rename it. I can go in here and type and rename the show and hit done, or just go back. I can give it a different image if I want. I can give it a cat image. Look at that. So now it's got a cat image. And I can export the show. So it'll save it to the memory card. Or I can import another show by clicking here. As you can see, I have all other shows saved with different setups. So if you've got a setup for recording into Logic or GarageBand or whatever, you can save those kind of things. You can access your recordings here. So what I just recorded there, look at that. That's ready for me to kind of play. And I could even turn that as part of that recording into a pad. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. You can create a brand new show if you want. So you've got all your shows at your fingertips, however you want. I like that cat. We'll keep it with the cat, yeah? We'll run along the top here. So you've got the time and your date, and that's all synced up. So that's all cool. Across this little thing here, you can see you can probably barely see it. It says 13 hours. That's what's on my memory card. So I have 13 hours of audio I can record on my memory card. I think that's got a 200 gig SD card in there. This little volume thing up the top here, what is that? I hear you ask. Well, glad you ask. My monitors are connected at the back here. So I have 2 monitors connected, my stereo monitors. And that, when I click on it, is the volume for my monitors. When I'm actually listening to music on my monitors, you can see it going up and down. There's our main out volume. So next to that, and we already covered, this button takes you into your menu. We'll come back here. Now, each of these tracks here are great. I can either click on the track using the touch screen, or I can click on the assigned button up the top here. And these buttons take you into each of your track's settings. And as you can already see, there's a lot going on in here. So we'll show you this on the mic that I'm not talking into at the moment. So you get a whole bunch of templates for mics. So as you can see, the Rode pod mics here, the Rode broadcast mic, the podcaster, there's even the NT1, NT1A, and there's even the SM7B, which everybody knows is a very, very power hungry kind of mic. It's so low, it depends on normally getting a cloud lifter. But the preamps in this are so damn good, you don't need a cloud lifter for the SM7B. These things are incredibly loud, so you don't even need a cloud lifter. In fact, Rode say don't use a cloud lifter because it will actually make the sound worse because the preamps are so damn good in this thing. And to show you that, see our levels here. This is how high the dB goes. 76 dB, man. 76 dB. There's some pretty powerful preamps right there. So we'll bring this back down to, what was it, 52. So this is what I have set for my, and because I have a pod mic, that's what that mic is set to. But if we go over to the right, to the left, you can just set a condenser mic, a dynamic mic, an instrument, a line in. So you've got all these options here to play around with. It is just mind-boggling. Here's your phantom power. So you've got the little phantom power on here. So you've got those options. We'll just make sure we're still on our pod mic. Cool. Cool, McCool. Now you can not only press these buttons to jump to each channel, you'll notice up the top here we've got these arrows. So I can jump back and forward by touching the arrows on here as well. So there's multiple ways to get around this. I mean, they've thought of everything. It's very, very clever stuff. While we're on this mic, we'll come back to the mic I'm on here. And let's talk about the effects that are the processing that is built into the microphones and sounds, right? We haven't even touched on the processing. This is where shit gets absolutely fucking real. So you have 3 presets. So we are now on this mic. This is the mic I'm speaking into, my wireless. In fact, let's use the other mic for this example. Let's bring in my pod mic and bring this up. So here is my pod mic on this channel. And we have a whole bunch of processing going on here. So they've made it nice and simple. If you don't want to fuck around with a lot of these knobs, you click the presets. We'll do this again so you can see what's happening. You click your presets and you get 3 presets here: natural, podcast, and broadcast. Let's let you hear what these sound like. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2. So you can hear with the broadcast mic how much deeper that gets. This is a serious broadcast sound. Going back to the podcast sound here, it's a little bit less deep, and then the natural is just, I'm right up close here, so let's keep up right up close so you can hear what's going on. Hey baby, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby. Wow, you can really hear that broadcast deep quality getting from this same mic, you know. Awesome stuff. I'm going to stick to the podcast mic. Now, if we hit our arrow back, you can actually go in here and play with all this stuff yourself. And within this little section here, you can see we've got depth, sparkle, and punch. So they've tried to make it nice and easy for you too. So you can take some depth out here. Hello, hello. Some sparkle. Let's get rid of that. Let's turn off the punch. So here we are with nothing virtually. No punch. We'll bring in the depth now and turn this up. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can hear that come in, the sparkle. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So the sparkle is going to give it some top end. And then you've got some punch. We can bring in some punch, just a punch in the face. But not only that, you can turn off the processing with a little processing button. And now we've got no processing on. And you can hear how dead that now sounds. Now we've got processing on. Now we've got processing off. Dead sound. You've also got, if you see up the top, processing and effects. So you can add echo and reverb. You've got echo and reverb there to play around with. Plus, you'll notice this little advanced button here. This is where you can get right in deep to this, all of these effects. And you've got these, what is it, 8 knobs, 8 little buttons there. You have a high pass filter. Pretty cool, high pass filter. You have a de-esser. So you can see as I'm speaking, every time I hit S, watch that. See how hard that de-esser is working. To have a de-esser built into your mixer is fucking crazy, man. It's really, really damn good. Silly Sally sells sizzling sausages on Saturday. That de-esser is working its bitch. Yeah. Next we have a noise gate. So we have a noise gate constantly running here. Now, if I turn this off and keep quiet, you should be able to hear a whole lot of that room noise come back. Let's be very quiet. Hopefully you heard that. If you've got headphones on, And you can see how hard that's working. You've got all your knobs for working all this. What's really cool, I'll just touch on this one little option on here. It's called hysteresis. And with a noise gate, the noise kicks in. You can decide the threshold at where it cuts, it opens the gate, because the noise gate opens the gate to let sound out. And then when you stop speaking, it closes the gate. But with this hysteresis, you can actually see this line underneath. This allows you an extra bit of time when actually closing out or coming back in. So here's where it actually shuts and closes, but actually closing back out gives you a little bit more time to finish off what you're speaking. It's crazy. 1, 2. It's really wonderful piece of kit. Let's bring that back up to where it was. You also have a compressor, a really high quality, and these are Aphex, quality stuff going on here. So you can see my compressor working its little ass off there to make sure when I speak loud, it's not going to peak out. It's working its ass off. So you've got a really high quality compressor. You have an equalizer. So this is what I have my EQ set to. So it's a 3-band EQ. Here's where your bell curves are, and here's where your gain. So you can see if I have the bell selected, that's my high, so I can move that around. And then the gain of the EQ up and down. So there's your EQ built in. You also have an exciter. Look at this thing. Look at it go. Look at it get excited. To add a bit of sparkle to your vocals, yeah? So you can play around with the harmonics, tuning. I mean, it's very, very deep stuff. You've got panning. So if I want to mess with the panning and go over there to the right, or maybe over here to the left. So it'd be really cool if you're, recording multi-track. So you've got a nice little pan in there as well. I'll bring that back to the center. There we go. And there we are, back to our high-pass filter. This stuff's all built in. Really, really impressive. And again, you can just flick through all of these, and you can add all these to all of your channels. All of your channels, man. So super, super, super cool. Let's get back out of here. All right, what do I want to touch on next? So we're going to go a little bit over again because I want to cover everything to this. Hello, Valerie. Hope you're doing well. Anyone else? Hello, Clayton. Anyone who I may have missed? And yeah, hopefully you're seeing the value in this thing. It's mind-blowing. Really is incredible. So we've covered the faders. Now we have our inputs. Let's talk about inputs. Outputs, sorry. There's our outputs. That was our fader screen. Here's our outputs. So again, when you go into outputs, you have a whole bunch of different stuff going on here. Yeah, I'm going to change mics now. We are back on my headset now. Cool. Back on the headset. Let's click on headphones. So you have a different selection of headphones to choose. Hey, Ian's Guitar Shack, good to see you. Different headphones. So because it's a Rode product, it automatically lets you allow the Rode NT100s, which I have. Or you've got high sensitivity headphones or low sensitivity headphones. So you can bounce back and forward between those. You can change the colors of the headphone inputs if you want. That's nice. Our monitors. So here in this section here, this is for when you're using monitors over headphones. So there's some really cool things in here. So see this thing here, it says auto mute monitor output. When enabled, monitor output will be muted when a microphone channel fader is lifted to prevent feedback. So what that does is, if I want to sit here and do a live stream to you guys, I don't need my cans on. I can sit here and speak into a microphone and I'll hear nothing, but as soon as I play music, that's right, no, sorry. So I will have my music coming out of my speakers, but as soon as I turn up a microphone, my monitors will cut and there'll be no sound. So I don't really need to have headphones on. You've got an auto mute here. So when the auto mute is enabled, Bluetooth output will be muted when a microphone channel fader is up, or you can have a fixed output level. So it's really cool. That is just next level stuff. So that's your monitors. Here's where things get kind of exciting too here. Let's we'll do this on this channel here. So right now we are on the channel 1, this main stereo out that goes into my computer. Now within here we have this screen here. Now this is called mix minus. Now if you don't know what mix minus is, I'll try and give you a quick crash course. So because you are sending a signal out of this into a computer, and then you may be bringing other sounds back into the computer, you have to set up a thing called mix minus. So what it is doing is it's taking out the sound, one of the things that you're sending into the computer, so it's not feeding back. So say I want to send my mic, so all this is going into the computer and I'm interviewing somebody. I want to make sure that interview person coming back doesn't have my mic in it. So it's doubling up. We don't want that. So this is where mix minus comes in. And on any of your USB ports, you can just automatically turn on mix minus. And it removes the chance of there being any loop back. Yeah, it is. Well, mix minus is loop back. But what gets even better, in the latest update, they've added this. And select all the things you want to go in and out, or I don't want this one to come in or this one to come out. And you can do this with every one of the USB channels. Remember, you've got 2 USB ports and a Bluetooth. So you can do this with all of them. You can go in, I don't want this to come back, I want this to come back. You have absolute full mix minus, and that'll remove that track, that USB that's going in and out. Amazing. So you're never going to get that circling, that reverb, that loop back. It's really next level stuff. Now, as I mentioned earlier, when they first released this, the mix minus stuff wasn't kind of working good and it was a bit fucked. But they've really sorted out with this There we go, am I back? That just shows you I removed my own mic from the mix minus. See, that's what you can do. I meant that 100%. That's really cool. So you can do all of that stuff, yeah? I'm sure I'm back now. I looped back myself out of the mix. But you can actually do this with, if we go into the outputs here, and go into routing, you can flick between them all and set all of these as you like, yeah? So it's really, really easy to do, to set up mix minus. Mix minus is normally a very difficult thing to understand, but Rode have made it super, super fucking easy. All right, so what else have we got along here? So this is, again, we looked at this at the start, where your smart pads are. Down here we have the display. So you've got full control over your display as well. You've got brightness, and you can change the brightness of your pads. You can change the time that the screen stays lit and then goes down. You can make it so, the way I have it set is when I hit one of these buttons, the pad actually gets brighter. And when they're off, they're much lower. Boom, boom, boom. And then they go back dark. So you've got full control over the way the brightness of the screen works, the brightness of the pads, the brightness of the lights and everything down here. Really super stuff. You've got your metering. So you've got 2 forms of metering, a default metering and a broadcast metering. This is just a look kind of thing more than anything. So you've just got more little points on your metering there. I like the broadcast one. It's just what I like. haptics, so you can turn on haptics. I have haptic feedback on, so every time I'm touching the screen here, I'm getting haptic feedback, which is a nice thing to have, so you know you're actually connecting. You've got your record button, so you can decide how your record button works, if you touch it once and it pauses or you have to hold. So nice stuff like that. We'll go back again. Here's where your shows are saved, which we looked at before. And last but not least, you have your system settings. So you've got your network. So you can see I'm connected via a Ethernet. Whoops, keep bumping the camera. You can switch to Wi-Fi. You've got all that kind of stuff. We have Bluetooth connection, so I can search for a Bluetooth, say my iPhone or my iPad. You can connect anything, yeah. Has OBS caught up to RODECaster 2 yet? Here's where your MIDI stuff is, right? So remember we talked about this. You can turn this on and you can control MIDI. MIDI, yeah? In things like Logic or whatever, your date and time, your language, and information. So you can check for an update here, nice and easy. You can view your device information, and if you want to send analytics or anything like that to Rode. The last thing we'll have a look at, the last couple of things we'll look at here in the settings, if we go to outputs, because there's a few more things I missed out on here, is the multi-track. Now this is this is where the issues were with the original firmware. So you'll notice up the top here we have recording and we have USB. So recording is for the SD card. This is solely for the SD card. So see, I have this set to off. So basically what that means is anything I record now onto the SD card will be a single stereo track. That's it. Single stereo track. If I change this to pre-fader, now what will happen is if I hit record for my SD card, everything will be recorded pre-fader. It will record every single track here without any effects and the unity volume, right? So then I can go back on my SD card and get all those 6 tracks and use them in, say, if I'm making a video or whatever. You've also got post-fader. So this is stereo out, and pre-fader and post-fader is your multi-track. So that's how you get between multi-track, like an audio interface, or just a stereo out. And you can do the same thing for your USB. So you can send your USB out to, say, Logic or GarageBand and turn it to post fader. And then you can select 8 tracks in your DAW. Or if you're doing a stream like I am now, a podcast, and I can't change this for you now, I would select off. So it's just sending a stereo mix out. Pretty fucking capable kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely capable beyond, beyond my wildest dreams, I'll tell you that. And you've also got this final one here, if we go back, this is in outputs, is your processing. And this is your final mix. So I don't have this on at the moment. I left this off intentionally. So this is your final master compiler. So with all of your processing going on, you can have a final compressor compiler to go out. So if I turn this on now, we have this final, which is, you can tell, it's just boosted my voice and just given it that nice polished finish. So which I normally leave on for the show because this is the final mix to send out. Really, really nice stuff to give it that final beautiful boosted mix. And this is your master compiler, it is called. And you can set, the other thing you have here is your output delay. So if you're using something like OBS and the sound isn't matching up to your video, you can actually set a delay on here so the audio will match up with your video when you're doing streaming or anything like that. Another just really cool thing they've added in there. I mean, you think they've thought of virtually everything for this device. It really is a beautiful piece of kit. Go back to that process. I want to keep this on. Stay on. I don't want the delay off. Let's turn that off. We want to make sure this is on. Good, good, good. So there we go. So that is all of that. I think there's a couple more things I had to touch on. And I can't think, just little things they've added too. Like you can actually press on this volume button to jump between tracks. So they've just added this between your virtual tracks. So it's pressing on it. So a long hold. I forget what the long hold does. It actually is supposed to add like a mute. And we didn't even talk about mute buttons or anything like that. So down the bottom here is your mute button. So I can mute. So you've got a mute button and this little ear button down here. What is this, I hear you ask? So we'll finish off with this. These are just beautiful. These little channels, these little ear things create like a solo effect. And you can press 2 of these at once. So just say I have somebody coming through on an interview on this track here. And during the stream, where I'm playing some music, but I want to talk to them during the stream, I can actually do this, right? And you can still hear me, right? But I can send messages to the guest and talk to them, and you won't hear actually what I'm saying. So what I did there was press both of these down. The audio will still be going out with the music, and I can have a conversation with my guests saying, oh, we're doing this next. Next level, man. This is... I can't tell you how fucking ace this is. It is really a piece of next level genius. And again, I want to be very clear. I had a lot of fucking problems with this at the start. There were issues. The last 3 weeks, I've wanted to rip my hair out, literally, with some of the issues. At one point, I wanted to send it back. I was so disheartened. But we have got to a point now where it's working really, really good, and the future seems really, really fine. So we've covered over there. As I said before, I've got my Mac over here, which at any time I can just hit play. And we got music playing over here. I can choose the tracks that I want to add to this. So you can see down here, I'm actually running, let's show you this. So for my setup over here, I'm running the Quattro from iRig as my interface with my mics and everything. And I'm running an out here into the RODECaster. So I can listen through the RODECaster. I'm using this for my interface, just how I want to do it, you know. Now, before we go forward, let me just tell you, something like this is what I was using for the longest time on this show. Still an amazing piece of kit, right? This thing, I didn't change because this thing was a piece of shit, this wonderful Yamaha desk. This is a beautiful piece of kit. Yeah, beautiful piece of kit. But this thing over here made things a little bit more nicer. So as I said, the price... you're looking at around $700 US, UK, Australia, you're looking at over $1,000, and Canada about the same thing. Yeah. And the other reason I bought this too was to complete my studio, which if you saw my video last week, I think it was last week, my studio is now complete. I have everything I need. I won't be upgrading anything for a damn long time. The next thing I'll be getting is a new iPad when it's released. The last thing I want to show you too over here, if we jump over to my PC, is the Rode software. Yeah. So this is the Rode Central software. And when it's connected, you can click on this and you have all of your options in here too. Your audio setup, so you can move stuff around here, and in real time, it will change on the device. So this is your audio setup. You have... we just did that. You have your device configuration with like headphone configurations, your monitors, your listening, how it's going to listen pre-fader or after listen for when you're communicating with your guests, your multi-track, so you can choose all that in here, your processing, your master compeller, then you have your display options, system options. So all of this can be done in here with your pads. You can load up this, and this is how you drag your pads in. So you would click on a sound here, and you can see didn't actually see that happen. And you can drag a file into this little section here, and just that's how easy it is to drag a new file in. Super easy, and that is your new pad. You just open up, say, a little window. Can I do it over here? Let's let's go into sound effects. What have I got here? Give me a second. Downloads, where's my sound effects? Pads, there we go. So I'll just bring this over here onto my desktop. Here we go. So I've got some sound effects here. And if I jump over here, we'll jump to a page that has space. So we'll click on this. So now I've got a blank pad, and I can click on my little window here. I can drag in this bear sound effect. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Grab it, drag it. And now that sound effect has a bear on it. If I go over to it, it's a bit loud. And from here too, you can change the color. You can select your colors in here, your little color swapper. You can name it. You can add your toggles. So you can do all this within the computer as well. Yeah. That is that. Now I can delete this. I don't really want it. I can't even remember how to delete it. It's something like, it's clear. Goodbye. Clear the pad. Done. So that is it. That's all of it. That's how you use this mighty beast of a product. Let me get rid of that window there. I'll come back over here. Boom. That is I think I did cover every single thing on here. Just double check. Show display system. Oh, and the other thing too, this is the hell for me. This is how I had to get into the beta mode. You go into your device information and see this number here. You have to tap this number 10 times and you're automatically in beta mode. I'm never doing that again. That was a mistake. Awesome. Awesome. That is the RODECaster Pro II in an absolute total look at there. Sorry, it's been a long show, but I wanted to get it all out so I never have to like touch on it again. It's a comprehensive look. Is it something you would buy? If it's not, it isn't something you would buy. If it is, it is. You know what I mean? It's going to be a case-to-case scenario. But yeah, steer clear of the beta because it's all working now. But the most exciting thing I will finish on is that who knows where this is going to go. The potential for this in the coming years of this device being in the wild is just, it's very exciting. It's very exciting to see where they take this. So I'm super pumped about it and can't wait to see where it goes. And hopefully it's just going to help make my shows even better, or better than the crap that they are now. Awesome. Thank you guys for being here and putting up with today's show. I hope you've got at least a better understanding of if this is something worthwhile to you. Remember, if it is, there are affiliate links through my gear guide that you can click on there. That'll take you to US, UK, Australia, and Canada stores. Completely up to you. What are we doing tomorrow, guys? I can let you know it's very exciting. We are looking at tomorrow this sucker right here, the brand new 4 Pockets Progressions app. It's really cool. You're gonna want it. It's really damn cool. Love it a lot. Then the day after that, we are taking a proper look, actual look at the 3.1 updates that are in LumaFusion 3.1, all of the cool color coding, the LUTs, not LUFs. So we're doing that. And then wrapping up the week with an interview with one of my great friends who plays in some fantastic metal bands, used to play in FMC with me as well, Riley Deasy, because it's not metal unless it's metal. And we'll be talking about his metal projects and stuff like that. You're going to love his sense of humor and his amazing music. And on the weekend, yes, it is happening, guys. The opening hour, episode 55, where I'll be doing songs from Cy F and Joe and Barry Glenn, Josephine DeSmet, Auntie G, Maffy's Garden, Darren Anderson, Glenn Clark, Russ, Pete, the Chandler brothers. It's all happening. on the weekend. So hopefully you can join me for this week's shows and all that stuff. Once again, thank you to all of the amazing Wart Warriors and, of course, my Patreons. And thank you for being here. I've been Jade Starr, and this is How to App on iOS. And remember, guys, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better, and we'll all rise together, and I will see you tomorrow. As Hippie would say, boom. See you later. Wrong music. No matter how technically advanced this thing is, I still fuck up the pads.